intermittent fasting the way to go for losing weight? Is it the best diet out there? That is a question I've been asked in so many different ways from various different clients and different people who have asked me just nutrition questions. And it seems like intermittent fasting has come up a lot. So we're going to dive into that. Before I go any further though, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone else who could really use this information. So intermittent fasting, let's dive into kind of like what it is and kind of break down a little bit more about diet and nutrition. So intermittent fasting, there's several ways you can do it, but for the quick synopsis is you're coming off of your fast that you have with sleep and you pretty much extend it. For most people, they try to have a window of time that they'll eat, and then outside of that window they'll of course try to fast. That will include also of course their sleep time. So there's individuals, they'll say, okay, I eat between 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. or potentially shorter than that. Some will kind of bump that to like noon to 7 or noon to 6, so they'll give themselves a short window. A lot of times that more than likely will mean that they'll eat probably 2 meals in a day, a lunch and a dinner. There is of course those who try to throw in a third meal or something like that within that time frame. But for the most part, again, it's just about this window of time that they'll limit themselves to eat. And then outside of that, they're not going to consume any form of food or nutrition outside of course, like a beverage. With that being said, how useful is it? Is it like the new thing? Is it the best way of reaching a weight loss goal or making it to your fitness goals? Is intermittent fasting for everyone? Well, the answer to that is no. There is no one diet that really fits to everyone. If we want to consider like these big named diets, there is no one size fits all. Honestly, from years of experience with working just with various different individuals, I will say nutrition itself is more nuanced and more individualized than the working out, the training aspect is. So it takes a little bit more time to structure that. I tend to start with clients having them track not really change anything, just track their food and go from there. And then we kind of start building off of what I learn about their habits and everything. What I tend to answer when someone asks me about if they should start intermittent fasting, the first question I have them ask themselves is, all right, how hungry are you when you wake up? Are you irritable without eating something in the morning? And if the answer to either of those questions is yes, then yeah, intermittent fasting is probably not for you. Because it is not for everyone. But it works so well. Like, people are losing weight, and like my friend over here, they started doing it. 3 months later, they lost all this weight. They seem to be phenomenal and all this stuff. One, good for them. That's one part of the puzzle. We don't know if that's the only thing they did. And secondly, yeah, of course it probably worked for them, because all they did is restricted their diet. Or in other words, they went on a calorie deficit. I like the post I saw from BioLane is his little name on Instagram, but from Dr. Lane Norton. I remember seeing it's like an image of like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, And it's like this, it's the scene where he's like going back and forth through glasses. Now he's got better vision and all that stuff. But the image is without the glasses. He's standing there going, I started doing, and then we're just fill in the blank, just a different diet each time, each little slide. So I started doing, it was intermittent fasting. Puts his glasses on. Oh, I'm on a calorie deficit. Reality is, that's all it was. It's a way of restricting yourself from consuming as much. But again, I still go back to the premise of if you are, why I ask the question, or have people ask themselves, are they really hungry in the morning when they wake up? Are they hangry and irritable without eating? The reason why I ask that is not just to show that, okay, you should have a breakfast based on that, and that intermittent fasting wouldn't work for that individual, but also the pure fact that adherence and sustainability won't be a reality for them if they chose to try to do intermittent fasting. They're going to fall off the wagon, so to speak, because at some point they're going to fizzle out because that hunger, that drive in the morning, that irritability is going to get to them, and they're going to revert back to having breakfast. Is breakfast bad? No. For certain individuals, it's a necessity in the morning for them to really function well. For me, that would be the case. I don't do intermittent fasting because I know that I'm way better after having a well-balanced breakfast. So there's no real big secret within all these different diets that people try to promote as the next big thing. None of them will really ever become that next big thing where it's going to continue. Yeah, sure, it's useful for people, just like keto is useful for people, just like there are people who go and are successful with being vegan or vegetarian or any of these diets. They can work for people, but again, typically at the end of the day, if the goal was to lose weight, then the reason why a lot of these are working for people is they've achieved a calorie deficit. Now, I still go back to, is it attainable and is it sustainable for that person? Can they adhere to this? Because you want to be able to live off it. It's nice and all if you can get started and use it as a tool, but the goal should be to get to a place with nutrition or with diet that your diet is a life, becomes a lifestyle that you can continue with, and you ebb and flow. You're not going to always look to cut. You're not going to look always to bulk, in other ways too. There's going to be an ebbs and flow based on your life, and your diet should ebb and flow through that. So sustainability is going to mean that the person can continue to do this without any huge negative impacts to your life. Adherence is the part of them being able to actually consistently do it without that falling off the wagon type thing. Doesn't necessarily mean that 7 days out of the week, 365 days a year, they're on point. That just means that they're, okay, they may have messed up yesterday on a meal, but the next day they pick right back up and move on. Not being able to adhere to it would be, you fell off one meal and you're like, blew it, whatever, screw this, I'm done, moved on, no longer doing the diet, that kind of thing. So don't get lost when someone brings up a new fancy diet, or someone else said that they made it. And don't also be that person who goes, oh, so-and-so said that intermittent fasting is awful for you. So someone who's had much success on it. So I've known people who thrive with it. That is their jam. So if you're able, like I said, use the questions that I said. Are you super hungry in the morning? Are you irritable without eating in the morning? If you can do it, go for it. All right, until next time. This is a nice, quick, short one. We'll definitely talk more about different other diets in the future.